Well, what's going on, Facebook family and friends, social media family and friends? Once again, it's on this 11th day of October. Yeah, we back. We back. It is another Wellness Wednesday with
We're
my good friend,
back.
Edward J. Brown. And listen, family, it's real simple. A healthy you is a better you, and your mental health matters. That's why we're in the building. And a lot of people are going through all kind of mental health issues because it's football season.
Yes,
If you're a
sir.
Prime fan, Prime won a few games, then he lost a few games. You got some mental health crisis. If you follow an HBCU football, I don't care if
We
you're
in
an
turmoil.
a Grambling State Tiger, a Southern University Jaguar, an Alabama A&M Hornet. I don't care what your team is. If your team ain't FAMU, you got some headaches right now. Because the only
I
one
got my blue and gold on. It's homecoming week. Yeah.
And it's homecoming
Brother.
week. It's homecoming
That's why
week.
I got my blue and gold. I wear blue and gold every day during homecoming week.
It's homecoming week, baby. At the Southern University. It's also homecoming at the Grambling State University. So
a
big
couple
up
of others. I think Jackson State too.
Hold it. And it's homecoming at the Jackson State University. Grambling, Jackson State, and Southern all have homecoming at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
So happy homecoming week wherever you are at. And if your school is celebrating homecoming this weekend, happy homecoming to you also. My good friend Edward J. Brown in the building. Edward, what's going on, my man?
Hey, man, it's good to be back, man. I know it's been a while. Things have come. Just go to show you, man. Just because we are committed to this mental health platform that we have, things come up. And we've been gone for a couple of weeks, but we're back. We're back better than ever, and we're still committed to making sure we put out great information. It's good to see you, my brother. Again, I know last time we were on, I congratulated you on your new position in at Lafayette administration. I don't think they could have picked a better brother, a more committed brother. And here's my thing, a true brother, someone that's committed to his people and the betterment of his people. So I applaud you. And I don't have to tell you, all you got to do is throw your hat up like the Black Avengers, and I will be there. I will be there.
Big things we're going to be doing right now is election season. I can't tell y'all who to vote for, but I'm going to be very, very real with y'all. Understand this. Elections have consequences. I want to say that again so y'all can understand me. Elections have consequences. Your vote is your voice, and your voice has power. Get informed, get engaged, get registered, and go vote. Listen, early voting numbers came out. Out of all the people who look like you and I that voted, only 18% of us showed up to early vote. That is a sad and dismal number. You cannot expect anybody to take you serious if only 18% of you show up to the polls. At the end of the day, here's what I want to say about that. Would you go to work all week long for somebody to give you an 18% of your check?
That's true.
Understand, if you don't vote, if you don't do the right thing by voting, you're literally affecting your income, your wealth, your prosperity, because these are the people who make the laws. These are the people who make the availability to certain avenues and lanes of success These are the people who give you access to certain things you need in order to have a prosperous and a blessed life. And let me tell you something. If they don't feel like you are voting because you feel like your vote don't count, let me tell you something. They're not going to pay attention to you if you're not paying attention to yourself. And right now, anxiety should be at an all-time high, because those of us who are biblical scholars are seeing stuff that's going on right now in the Middle East. We get nervous because it's like it's the end time.
Fulfilled. Prophecy fulfilled.
Right. That's all I got to say about that. With that being said, let me turn it over to my good friend, Edward J. Brown.
It's really good to be back. I'm glad that we are back on the air this week, and we're showing our commitment to this mental health platform. So with the past couple of weeks with us not being on, it was because things came up. So what I wanted to do was I wanted to use tonight's show to talk a little bit about when things become overwhelming. You know, because there's an old cliche that folks say, be careful what you wish for, because you just might get it. So over the past few weeks, several things have come up, and we've been unable to do this show. Sometimes we for ourselves, and before you know it, it seems like the floodgates open. The floodgates start to come, and then we get happy in the beginning, but then the water starts to rise, which means pressure becomes a little bit more intense. The water starts to rise, which means we have more on our plate than we really want to take on. The water starts to rise, and we find ourselves not being able to say no, and we take on more and more and more. You know, be it with family, be it with our job, just be it with ourselves. Sometimes things get overwhelming.
Come on, speak on it.
What do you do when that happens? What do you do? So,
talk to me.
I'm gonna give you the one philosophy that I find I use more than anything. And I know my family and my friends, they get tired of hearing me say it, but I live by this. And it's that old metaphor: how do you eat an elephant? I heard people say, I want mine barbecue. That's not what I'm talking about. You know, I want mine grilled. That's not what I'm talking about. We mean, how would you eat something so massive, so huge? You're going to eat it one bite at a time.
Come on, speak on it,
I
brother.
was asked a few weeks ago to go to a kickoff for the beginning of the school year. And they wanted me to they gave all of the participants a little card, and they wanted our recipe for success, something they could give to the parents, something they could give to the students. So on my card, one of the first things I said was, break your task up into smaller tasks. Instead of trying to do one big, large task, break them up into smaller tasks.
Come on.
So when I say eat an elephant one bite at a time, when we find ourselves overwhelmed, take little bitty tasks and put them, you know, prioritize them. Instead of just saying, okay, I got to eat this elephant. There's that elephant. I got to eat that doggone thing. That's a big elephant. It looks a little bit better if we say, well, I got to eat a trunk. Let me eat a trunk today.
Come on.
Today I'm going to eat the trunk. Tomorrow I'll eat the back leg. Or tomorrow I'll eat the right leg. And it seems as though you're making progress when you break tasks up into smaller tasks. That's the first thing that I want everybody to think about when we start talking about being overwhelmed. Maybe you have taken on too much, but if you break it up into small pieces, you find yourself making progress.
That part.
Okay. All right. So here's the second part. So if we agree to break task up into smaller pieces, the next thing you have to do is take time to acknowledge that you are making progress. We don't stop enough because it's so much. I got so much to do. I got to keep going. I got to keep hopping. You find yourself saying, Wait a minute. I did finish eating that trunk, didn't I? All right, look at me. Yay me. Yay me. You have to be willing to take a moment and bask in your accomplishments. Because if you do not, you will find your morale goes like this.
Yeah.
Yep, your morale starts to go down because then you find yourself, I'm just doing this to do it. There's no progress. So first thing, break task up into smaller pieces so that you can manage the smaller task. Number two, when you have a small accomplishment, yes, it is okay to say, you know what? Yay me. Look at me. Go me.
Come on.
Pat yourself on the back.
Celebrate you.
Celebrate you. Now, all right, you know we always seem to every topic that we have, brother, don't we always step on some toes?
Indeed we do. Indeed
Well,
we do.
here we are at that moment again.
Let's go.
Here we go. Be careful who you include on your team. Everybody that's eating that elephant ain't really putting that food.
Stop the presses. You got to say that one more again for the folk in the back who didn't hear.
Hey, you have to be careful who you put on your team. You know, and I've seen so many memes that make me say that's real. I saw a meme where it had a bicycle with 10 seats on it. And the guy that was in the front, he wanted to be in the front. They showed the thing. I'm leading. I'm in the front. I'm going to be in the front. And the other 9 people said, okay, you can go in the front. And the last meme was him, sweat popping off his head, and he pedaling and he's struggling. And they showed the other 9 people had their feet up on the handlebars. Now, he wanted to be in charge. He wanted to be in the front. You have to be very careful.
Come on.
Who you put on your team. If you have to eat an elephant and y'all going to be on TV, be sure you got 9 hungry people and not 9 people that just want to be on TV.
Come on, that part.
Because you putting big chunks in your mouth and they nibbling. You shoveling elephant in your mouth. They nibbling. But they look good for the camera. They waving, hey, camera. Hey, people. Here I am. Be careful who you put on your team. Be sure everyone on your team has the same objective. If we're eating an elephant, what is the objective? To complete that elephant.
Come on. To get the task done.
To get the task done. That's how it goes. So we have 3 things that we could spend the entire podcast talking about. One, we have people who do not, they try, for example, okay, brother, this is where we really go. And I know my brother's going to jump on this one because he talks about it all the time. All of a sudden, we get a little pocket change.
Come on.
The first thing we want to go out and buy is that $5,000 purse.
Come on.
That $15,000 watch. At the end of the day, I always ask people when they say, well, what you got on your watch, on your wrist today? Well, I got this on my, wow. Yeah, but you didn't know me when I wore the watches out of Walmart because I liked it.
Come on.
You didn't know me when people was giving me their hand-me-down watches.
Come on, speak on that.
Yeah, you see, so when you see me with the high-end watch, it doesn't necessarily mean I went out and spent a whole bunch of money on it. It might have been a hand-me-down.
Right. You don't know. You don't know. And let's just be real. Let's be real about something. I tell people you didn't know me when you did not get to know me when I was going through my process. See,
Yeah, but I
folks
always
want to
tell
see
people,
me.
you see the end, but you didn't see the journey. You
Right,
didn't
right,
see the
right,
journey.
right. That
You
part,
see,
that part.
this is the end. You see me at this point. Let's
Right,
say it's
that
not
part.
the end, but you see me at this point, but you didn't see the journey that got me here.
You see me on the mountaintop, but you didn't see me when I was climbing up the
The
mountain.
climb, you didn't see the climb. The climb, you didn't see that. So
Yes, sir.
I tell people all the time, they see the car I may drive or the truck I may drive. I say, but you didn't see me when I had the Blue Goose.
Come on,
You see,
come
it was
on.
an old 1977 Camaro that my uncle gave me. And if you was riding with me on the passenger side, you had to hold your feet up, put them on the dash because there was no floorboard. So it was kind of like the Flintstones. You know, your feet.
Come on now.
Yeah.
Come on.
See, you didn't see that. And you didn't see when I had the Grand Am with the big bubble in the middle of the tent in the back that needed struts and shocks. And every time I hit a bump, it was like, You didn't see that. You didn't see that. You look, watch this. Now I'm going to really throw my see, look, the little, hold on, man. Let me do a commercial right quick. I don't be doing, we'll go this way. Look, the little man on my shirt right here.
Come on.
See the polo? That's the polo man. But you didn't see me when I had the fox. Remember the fox from JCPenney?
Right. Or the elephant. Right. Come on now. Talk to me.
Yeah, see, people don't remember when we had the fox from JCPenney or the little elephant you get. So my thing is, you might know and see where I am now, but you don't know my journey.
Right.
So when we start sitting here talking about coping and dealing with being overwhelmed because the world will throw things at you you're not ready for. You have to be able to manage your task. Take big tasks, make them into little tasks. When you have the smallest of accomplishments, take a minute and bask in your accomplishment, your success.
Right.
It's okay to do that.
Ambience. Yes, sir.
It's okay to do that. And here's the most important one. Be careful who you have on your team.
Ooh, that's something. That now, right there.
We're gonna spend a little time on that one because that one get my brother going. We're gonna spend a little time on that.
I'm gonna say this one thing because I say it constantly. Everybody in your circle ain't in your corner.
That's right.
Everybody clapping with you ain't clapping for you. Back to my brother Edward J. Brown.
And because what we have to have a tendency to do when we start talking about watching those three things, break task up into small tasks, take a minute to bask in your success, and be careful who you put on your team because everybody has ambition. Everybody has the thought process of I want to better myself. So if you have a group of people on your team whose goal is to better themselves instead of complete the task, you may need to revisit that. And it's nothing wrong with being ambitious. But in the words of Shannon Sharpe said everybody wants to run to the Colorados and all these other places. If you are good, they will find you.
Yes, sir.
They will find you. He went to Savannah State.
Yeah, hold it. You ain't got to be going looking for nobody. If you good,
they're gonna find you. They're gonna find you. They came to Jackson State and found Walter Payton.
Come on.
They saw Grambling. They saw Doug Williams at Grambling.
They went to the reservation and found one Steve McNair.
Steve McNair, that's right. And what's the other cat played for Green Bay from Alcorn? I can't believe it because they never let me forget Donald Driver.
Right.
Donald Driver. You know, they came to Southern and found Aeneas Williams. So my thing is, we have to make sure that if we have a group that we are all on the same page. I love some of these reality shows. There was a reality show that I was watching called Stars on Mars.
Mm.
And it was entertaining to me. One of the things I liked about the show, they always had to do a task every show. Well, you had to get a mission leader, and everybody tried to be the mission leader. Some people avoided being the mission leader. Be sure when you check in your circle that everyone around you is on the same page.
Come on now.
That they understand the goal and that you all are working towards the wrong goal. What I have a tendency to find out, and I see a lot on the collegiate level, is everyone is not on the same page in regards to the goal. You and I will say our goal is to put out the best product that we can. That's our goal. The second person may say, well, my goal is I want to get an A. Now, I don't care what we got to do to get an A. I just want an A. And the third person's goal is to not get an F. Now, you may think all three of those goals are the same, but they are not. They are completely different. Listen to the first goal of two people is to put the best product we can out there. The second person's goal is I want an A. The third person is I don't want to get an F. As similar as they may sound, they are not the same. They are not the same. So if we look at a workplace, let's say those same goals apply. Someone may say, I want to make sure my clients get the best product. The second person will say, I want a raise. And the third person is going to say, what? I'm doing this so I don't get fired.
Come on now.
Okay? As we look at these things, you have to say, well, how can they all be on the same team and working towards the same goal, but each one of them said something different? And that's because the motivation behind each one of them is different. Okay? So when you look at you and I, we want to put the best product out there, right?
Correct.
When that project is complete and you and I stand back, we'll say, man, that thing sure does look good, doesn't it?
Come on, speak on that. Speak on.
Man, that thing look good. Wow, look how fine that is. That is a great job we did. Okay? You see what I'm saying? So now we're sitting back and we're looking at a top quality project. Here comes the second person. What do you think they saying? Yo, man, where the checks at? What? Look at what we just did. Yeah, man, that's nice. Where the checks at, man? We getting paid for this? And then the third person comes along and they're like, look, just be sure to tell them I did a little something over here because I don't want to get fired. Well, I'm just trying not to get fired. You remember when Beast Mode did his interviews? What did Beast Mode say when he did his interviews? I'm only here
right
because I don't want to get fined.
Right.
I don't want to talk to none of y'all. I don't want to talk to none of you. I just don't want to get fired.
I'm here because they told me to be here.
I'm here because they told me to be here. That's why I'm here. So, it's very important, man, that we understand as we go into the second part of this podcast. We have to understand that everyone has different motivating and driving factors. I don't care what a person tells you. I really don't care. Everyone has their own different driving forces. And the perfect storm is when you can put together a team and everyone's motivation is the same. That's the perfect storm, and it's a rarity that you have everybody that has the same driving and motivating factor. You and I, this podcast, same factor. You said there's people out there that need to hear good professional information on how to deal with everyday stressors.
Come on.
Let's put together this podcast where we will disseminate great information, and we'll have a little fun while we're doing it. But one thing we want to be is informative. Let's be very informative. And that's what we are.
And while you're saying that, let's bookmark that. So, family, we do want to remind you that you may be dealing with something right now. You may be dealing with anxiety. You might be dealing with depression. You might need a counselor. You see the number, it's scrolling at the bottom, but I also want to put up the website so you can understand. And let me get the website here too. So you can understand that, listen, positivechoicescounseling.org. Positivechoicescounseling.org. Excuse me. I might need to give me something to drink, just like you doing. That is where you need to go. They have the website is self-explanatory. It lets you know that if you need someone to talk to, because let's be real about it. Suicide and depression is at an all-time high in communities of color. So we've got to be our brothers and our sisters' keeper. And as we always say during one of our podcasts, it's okay not to be okay. What is not okay is not to go seek help when you need help. Back to my brother Edward J. Brown.
Yeah, we have so many different variables and so many issues impacting our society today that we had to have a medium where we could get together and we could talk about things that people don't like talking about. People don't like talking about mental health. I don't want nobody to think I'm crazy. Well, to suffer in silence is crazy in my field. If you have a tooth and your tooth is killing you and you have not gone to the dentist, that's crazy. If you reading with your eyes squinting, you can't see, that's crazy. If you are struggling with life stressors and will not get a professional, an expert to help you through this, that's crazy. Not calling someone because you have depression or anxiety. That's what you should do. If you bleeding from your ear, you're going to run to an ER, aren't you? So if you have issues, mental issues that make you scratch your head, things you just don't understand, contact a professional. Reach out. PositiveChoicesCounseling.org.
Come on.
The phone number scrolls across the screen. And I always tell people, if you're not going to do positive choices, do somebody.
Right. Get help.
It makes no sense to suffer. It makes no sense to suffer. I want everyone that watches this podcast to remember what we're talking about. Life becomes overwhelming. Life makes us throw our hands up and say, hey, wait a minute. Life makes us sit in our car sometime and want to hit the steering wheel. Sometimes life makes us want to say them 4-letter words.
Come on.
You know? But at the end of the day, you don't have to do that alone. We come here, and I really want to take a minute to pat you and I. Remember, I just talked about basking our successes.
Come on.
For us to be able to steal an hour out of our weeks these days.
Come on. Talk to me.
That shows our commitment to this. This brother, y'all, this is my brother, and I love this dude, man. This brother came together. We came together years ago.
Yes, sir.
And he always told me, he said, man, I got a vision. And the vision is coming to fruition. And it is very, very, very difficult for him and I to come on some days, but we committed. I know we was running late today. You know what I smiled at? My brother said, oh, we're going to put a podcast on the air today.
Right. Listen.
That's
And
commitment to this task.
I can share this with y'all because y'all need to hear this. Y'all really need to hear this, and he needs to hear this. Actually, for the next 2 Wednesdays, not only this Wednesday, but the next 2 Wednesdays, we're going to come on at 8:30, and people might be saying, "Well, what's going on?" So let me say something. Brother Brown has been a blessing to this podcast and to me since day one. Since day one, this brother has really been a blessing to me and to this podcast. So I'm actually going through a new members class at my church. So that's one of the reasons. I am now, and I don't like saying it because I ain't big on titles. Forget titles. But I am the chief of minority affairs for Lafayette City and Lafayette Parish, where I live. I work now for Lafayette Consolidated Government. I actually answer to the mayor president of the city I live in. And it is a tumultuous task because I am by myself managing the 5th largest parish in the state of Louisiana, dealing with minorities. And when I say minorities, I'm not just dealing with Black folk. I'm dealing not only African Americans, I'm dealing with Latinos. Right. I'm dealing with Indian Americans. I'm dealing with Native Americans. I'm dealing with Persian
women.
Americans. I'm dealing with women. I'm dealing with the disabled. I'm dealing with minorities. And this is the first time I've ever did anything like this. I'll be very honest with you. I am a people person and I'm a fast learner, and I believe my heart is with the people. And I have to tell people that all the time because sometimes people look at who hired you or who appointed you, and if they ain't good with that person, they feel like all of a sudden they can't be good with you. Well, I'm still that same dude. I'm still that same dude. I'm that same dude that I was before I got appointed. Ain't nothing changed with me, and so I am always here to let folks know this. I'm not about politics. I'm not about party. I'm not about political grandstanding or any pompous words. I'm about the people. Always have been, always will be. And be it one day, 1 week, 1 month, 1 year, every minute and second that I am the chief of minority affairs, I am in there working for the people.
Yeah.
And that's all I got to say about that. So,
well, and again, we started by saying our commitment to this platform that we have.
Come on. And that's what I want folks to know. Yeah. This man here, even though we got all this going on, this man here is a professor. He teaches clinical psychology. He teaches it at the Alcorn State University. They say always Alcorn, and I'm telling you, he's out there on the reservation doing his thing. And we still committed to come here and do this podcast. Here's why. We don't want anyone to be suffering, saying to themselves, I'm all by myself with my issues, because we all have issues. And some of us don't want to call it what it is. We don't say, we say, I don't have no mental problems. No, but we all have issues and we all need someone to talk to. And we want to be that sounding board for you to talk to share, we might say something, you say, well, I've had that problem before. We all had problems. I've been married and divorced. I've dealt with child support. I've dealt with almost being homeless. I've dealt with many things. But guess what? I'm here to tell you everything I dealt with. Thank God I had God, but I had someone who helped guide me through the situation. Somebody. I talked to this man. This man is my counselor. He counsels me. I have talked to other professional counselors. I have went to psychologists because I knew I had some situations. I was an abandoned child. Sometimes the situation is bigger than you for you to try to fix it on your own. With that being said, back to my brother Edward J.
Well, and that we need to stay there for a minute. And that's okay for you to reach out for someone for help.
Come on.
We started this podcast talking about being overwhelmed, taking on too much when the world puts too much on us. It does not mean that is a sign of weakness because it becomes too much for you to bear. See, that's the myth that we have to dispel. We have to start tearing down the idea that if I seek help, I therefore admit my weakness, especially as men. We feel as though we're supposed to be able to chew nails and spit out, BBs or something. But at the end of the day, the world is difficult and it's strong for us.
Mm.
I mean, and it's overwhelming for us. Us feeling we have to be strong. That's the pressure that we put on ourselves. Society puts enough pressure on us. Be okay with saying, you know what? I need help, my brother. And I have to really take 10 seconds out to commend my circle because we've been going through a lot lately. My brothers, guys that I consider my brothers. And we've come together and we've helped and supported one another. And not
Amen.
1 minute did anybody say, man, this dude weak. This dude is not a man. He's not that. What we've gotten at this age and this right here is we've gotten wiser. We've developed wisdom. And even a drop of water consistently can put a hole in a boulder over millions of years.
Mm-hmm. Come on.
So I wanted to take this minute and piggyback on what you just said when we started talking about being overwhelmed, our commitment to coming on here with quality mental health information, even with the schedules that we have, even with the commitments that we have, even with the tasks that we've been given, we committed to come on here. My brother just said, for the next couple of weeks, we're going to be at 8:30 instead of 8 o'clock. This podcast is not going to go away.
We still here.
We're still here. And let's say this, because we haven't said this in a while. If there's ever a time that we're not on the air, you can go back and look at some of the previous shows we've done. We should have almost 100 shows, right, Joe?
We got a lot of them. You can
we got a lot. If not, we up there in number.
We got a lot.
Number of shows.
And you can go to www.the100blk.com. All you got to do is click on, you'll see it. It says Wellness Wednesday. You click on it and you can go and look at any episode you want to look at, because we have talked about a plethora of situations, from depression to who you with, to
parenting. We've
Parenting.
talked about anxiety. We've talked about substance abuse. Yeah.
Right. Substance abuse. We've talked about marital issues. We've talked about relationship issues. We have talked about a smorgasbord of things on this podcast. And we will continue to do that because
I think one show we talked about repeatedly is suicide. We've addressed suicide repeatedly and violence. Those are two issues that we've done several shows on.
Because it plagues our community. Listen, right now in the city that I'm living in, Lafayette, Louisiana, within the last, it hasn't even been 5 days. This weekend, we had a drive-by shooting. Well, it wasn't really, we can call it that. It was first announced as it was a drive-by, but we had a shooting. 4 individuals got wounded. Out of the 4 individuals that got wounded, one of them passed away. All 4 were people of color. We just had another shooting where people of color. Listen, violence and suicide that we don't want to talk about. And we talk about the difficult things because many a times not talking about it ain't gonna make it that it go away. Just you being quiet about it don't make that it's gonna disappear. We've got to get to the point that we have these difficult conversations where we can begin to start the process of finding solutions, that we don't talk about this stuff anymore. Brother Brown.
It's again, it's amazing that we're looking at only maybe 20 minutes more of this podcast, how the time flies when we start talking about things that are really relevant to us. There is a lot going on in our society, especially our political climate in this country, that's causing people anxiety. It's people who are watching who will be running for the commander-in-chief of this country, and it causes them anxiety sometimes. So I think that we've spent the last 10 minutes of the show talking about our commitment to mental health, but I need people that watch this show, that tune in, to be committed to their mental health. You sit back and we don't get calls, we don't get comments, but we have people that watch this show that call me and text me, and they'll say, yo, man, I need that. One of my fraternity brothers, one of our brothers, brother, he called and he said, man, I watched the show. He said, and I swear it was like you were talking to me. It was exactly what I was going through. He said, man, I needed to hear that. I appreciate that. He's a young brother, career oriented, want to take on a wife, you know, and he said, I was feeling a little bit frazzled. He said, and watching that podcast gave me information. It helped me calm down. It let me think, okay, if I do need help, I can always reach out and talk to somebody. He said, man, I felt so much better. It made me happy that I actually tuned in. And I said, that's our purpose for doing the show.
Cause life be lifing for everybody. Yeah. Listen, nobody is immune.
Life be lifing.
Nobody is immune to the ebbs and the flows of life. Let me tell you something. Every day ain't gonna be a good day. But the question is, how do you handle those days that aren't good days? Let me say this. I'm so blessed to have this sunshine on my team. I'm so blessed to have a brother that I can call him anytime. As long as he ain't dropped his phone, he gonna answer his phone.
Yeah.
But listen, if he can get the message, he gonna get back with me and be like, brother, are you okay?
Yeah.
And listen, you need some friends. Listen, that circle we talked about, you need to have some people in that circle and in your corner that will hold you accountable. The two words that we really mess up in communities of color is responsibility and accountability. And let me say something. He brought up something. You know, I can look in the back end. I see who's watching, even though you might not see the likes, the clicks, or the shares. There might not be a lot of them because a lot of people don't want to like, click, and share when it comes down to stuff like this. Now, we were on here with naked women, a bunch of mess, and talking about
cussing and smoking dope.
Right.
That's a big show now.
Talking noise. And we were doing like some other podcasts that smoke dope and talk noise. You know, we acted like some other folks. I ain't gonna call their name out. But at the end of the day, we were acting foolish. We probably have a lot of likes, clicks, and shares, but we're here trying to educate you, empower you, put you in a position that you and your family don't have to suffer. Because guess what? A lot of us is out here getting likes, clicks, and shares, but we're suffering in silence.
You see, we're not talking about something that everybody like to talk about.
Come on, that part. You know, guess what? We're gonna take on the difficult conversation about something that most folks say, don't talk about that. She I, he I, they just a little off. No. They got a mental health issue. They not just a little off. They need help. Yeah. They need professional help. Laying hands on them and praying for them. Guess what? That's good. But beyond that, some folk need professional help. Just laying hands, praying on them, and greasing them up like they a chicken dinner with Earl ain't gonna do it. I did say with Earl.
You know, it's we all have our belief systems, and prayer works. We all know that.
Yes, it does.
Our spirituality, our relationship with God is a must. But we also have to understand is God put things in place for us to utilize too. You know, when Abraham had to find a sacrifice, God had a ram tied up in the bush. He put things in our lives so that we can utilize things. So when we have mental health professionals, there's doctors, because we also have a problem going to the doctor. I'm in trouble right now because my doctor been calling me, and I've just been missing his calls, and I haven't returned his calls. So I'm kind of in hot water with the doctor, you know, and so I think that we have to get to the point where we utilize what's in our utilize our resources. I believe that we took this podcast, and in these last 15 minutes, I kind of want to reiterate the points that we started with. Life, I like what you just said. I heard that once before, and it makes me laugh every time I hear it. Life be lifing.
Yes, it do.
And I think that what we do, especially as men, and one day soon, I'm going to do a show just for men.
Come on
And
now.
we're going to talk about stressors that we put on ourselves, stressors society put on us, and we're going to talk about how to shake some of that stuff off. We sit here and we look at the things that life puts on us, and we just keep on chugging, and we keep on picking up more tasks, and we keep on dealing with the burdens. And next thing you know, we hear, man, so somebody had a heart attack. What? Somebody had a stroke. We don't know what's wrong with this brother. We don't know what happened. We know what happened. That brother became overwhelmed. He took his health care for granted. He allowed life to life him to death.
Come on, speak on that.
You know, and what I want everybody to understand is I'm writing, you know, I'm always writing. And I have a rule that I just wrote, and it's called the 72-hour rule.
Speak on it now.
I'm never going to let anything kill me that would replace me in less than 72 hours.
Woo.
Now, what I mean by that, if you got a job right now and you die, the first thing, or you let that job kill you, the first 24 hours, everybody's going to be so shocked. Oh my God, this is just terrible. Did you hear what happened to Joe? That's awful. The second 24, we have 48 hours. They're going to check on the family. Oh, you doing okay? Oh, well, if you need anything, let me know. If there's anything we can do, let me know. The third 24 hours at the 72-hour mark, they're going to list your job. They're going to post your job. I've made a vow to myself to not let anything take me away from my family and my loved ones that would replace me in 72 hours. I want everybody that watched this podcast to make a commitment. Number one, we talked about it. Break big tasks up into small tasks.
Come on.
It's okay to do that. It's okay to say something is too much. Now, I don't know why just now at that moment, you know what popped in my head? We as Black people, we have an issue. We don't like to say something is too much because we want as much as we can get. If somebody, you ask me to fix me a plate and they bring you a plate with 5 pieces of chicken, 2 big old mounds of mashed potatoes, 4 slices of bread, you might look at it and think that's too much.
Come on.
We ain't going to say that's too much, not to the person. We might say in our head, woo, that's a lot. But when life becomes and someone gives us a task, work that's too much, I need everybody to make a commitment to stand up and say, that's too much. I can't do that.
And here's why. Because you need to be disciplined enough to let folks know that you're not built to carry that load.
It's not worth us falling apart for.
Come on. You're not built to carry that load, because if you try to put a load on a vehicle that's not built to carry that load, it's going to break that vehicle down.
It's going to break the vehicle down. And we're breaking down as people. As a people, we're breaking down. So we have to be able to say, I'm going to break this up into small tasks. I'm going to pay, this much on this bill instead of looking at the full. I'm going to pay it down. I'm going to get people to help me. The second thing is when you get to a certain point and you've accomplished some things, as we recoup, as we kind of recap, I did really well with that. Look at this. Look at how this is complete. Look at my work. I did a great job. Yeah. Now I'm going to move on to something else, to the next part that I have broken this up. I've broken this up into 4 parts. but I've completed that. Yay, me. And then at the end of the day, when you put together those people to help you, be careful. Be very careful, because you're going to have that negative Nancy, that Debbie Downer, that jiving Joe. No pun intended, brother Dupree.
I understand.
You know what I mean? You're going to have mediocre Marvin. How about that?
Come on.
And at some point, you have to say, you know what, mediocre Marvin, I appreciate all your help, but I'm good. I appreciate it. I'm going to take this on, and we're going to have more like-minded individuals working on this particular, and we appreciate all your help.
Right.
So I wanted to take the time out tonight. We got about 9 minutes left. I wanted to take time out to talk about that, because we're coming up on the end of the year. We're coming up on, we got 3 more holidays left.
Come on.
We got Halloween, if you want to call that a holiday. Then we got Thanksgiving. And then we have Christmas. And we are at the end of the year. We have people already putting out Christmas decorations.
You're right.
So I want everyone to get ready for, completion of task coming up on the end of the year. I want everyone to start to pay attention to their accomplishments. And I want them to pay attention to their support systems or lack of support systems, and create them where they are lacking. Okay? Where you are lacking support systems, create that. Create what you need. I'll never forget, I have a colleague, Dr. Bell, at Alcorn, and I teach a class called Basic Issues in Mental Health. And I absolutely hate that textbook. The textbook is just not very well written. It's not informative. It's very vague. It's just not good. And I remember I complained and complained and complained about that book for about 3 years. And one day she looked at me and she said, hey, Doc, so what are you going to do about it? And I remember looking at her and I said, we're going to write our own textbook. Because what are you going to do when you don't have the support system that you need in your life? Create the support system that you need.
Come on now.
Go and put it together, and put together that system that at the end of the day, you feel appreciated, you feel valued, and you feel supported.
Like now, I tell folks,
that is all I had.
Like I tell folks, stop trying to sit at other folks' table. If you have to sit there at their table for a season, while you're sitting at their table, get the skills together where you can build your own table and invite folks to your table.
That's right. That's right. So now that we're at the end of the podcast, I want to talk about homecoming a little bit. I want to talk about homecoming a little bit.
Yes, sir.
Let's have a little list. People don't realize how valuable homecoming is at the HBCU experience.
They really don't. They really don't.
I have some of my students. I don't understand this whole situation, but hey, I have a student that's a junior. She's a non-traditional student, and she has a daughter that goes to a PWI.
Okay.
And it's homecoming at the PWI.
Okay.
And she see what her mom is doing and going through, and she was like, I want to come home. I don't want to go up here no more because they don't do nothing for homecoming. She said, what do you mean? She said, you did something Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you got a concert. Saturday is the game. She said, all they have up here is the game. That's it. She said, I came here, but I wanted the college experience. She said, but I'm not getting the college experience. I'm coming back home.
She's not getting the black college
That's what she's not
experience.
getting the black college experience. And one of the things that I thought about when I was talking to the students about it was homecoming is just that. It is where we get together with people from every year of Southern. You know, I graduated Southern many years ago. And a lot of my friends that I graduated with, we see each other throughout the year, but we all come home for homecoming.
Come on.
We all meet up on that campus for
back
homecoming.
to the yard.
We go back to the yard. And I think that we need to develop kind of like some kind of system for our communities. And I'm processing it in my head. We need to have a homecoming for our communities because, you know, we have a tendency, folks, when we make it, we leave where we from.
Right, right.
Well, I'm thinking about it. You know,
hey, a family reunion type thing. Now, where I come from, listen, where I come from, I'm gonna make you laugh. This you don't have to reinvent the wheel. I come from a place. I was born in Tennessee. I was born in Memphis, but I was raised in a very small town named Henderson, and we call it Simple City. But we had a tradition. We would have a big barbecue like on Labor Day, and that's when normally everybody would come back home. So you don't necessarily, you find a holiday where you can say, look, we're going to start a tradition. And this is when everybody's going to come back home. And maybe at the same time, you can, like, we're celebrating Labor Day, but we're coming back home to say, this is where I came from. You might do it on Father's Day, Mother's Day, Easter, whatever. But just find a day that you can start getting with some of the folks you know and say, wouldn't it be just good for us to come back home? Start with your street. It might go from your street to your community to your whole city. That's what it did with us. This all started with a person on the street saying every Labor Day, we're going to barbecue, come back home. It went from that street to the whole community saying, we're coming back home for Labor Day. Next thing you know, the whole city coming back home for Labor Day.
That's a great idea. That's a great idea. And that it all comes from the pretense of homecoming at these HBCUs.
Come on.
And
now.
what I like is that every HBCU believes their homecoming is the best.
Yes, sir.
Every HBCU feels their homecoming is top notch.
Hold on, I gotta pull this up so you just understand what October the 14th. And listen, something else we want to talk about. I need to talk about this because it's really serious. October the 14th, if you're in the state of Louisiana, is election day. Not only is it election day, you have Grambling State University homecoming, the Grambling State. LSU plays Auburn at home, and you have Southern homecoming that day. If you have not voted, get up early before you go to these events and go vote. Here's why. Your vote is your voice, and your voice has power. And I told you in Lafayette Parish, I do have the numbers for the whole state, and I'm pretty sure they're quite low also. People are not going out to vote, especially people of color. So before you go out and get your party on, take on the responsibility of casting your vote, because your vote is your voice. And remember, there have been a lot of great people who have sacrificed a great deal that you have the right to vote. Honor them by going to vote.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So here's what I was looking up. Let me look it up right quick because I wanted to give you this. Yeah, because I do have it on my Swacking for Clout page. The following schools are having homecoming on the 14th. Jackson State University, Southern University, Bethune-Cookman, Tennessee State University, Central State University, Tuskegee University, Cheney University, Morris Brown University. You also have
all at the same time.
All at the same day. And Mississippi Valley State. So, and I left a couple of schools out, but literally there's let me count here. 9. Hold up. That does it look 12? Yeah, 12 HBCUs at October the 14th will be their homecoming. So this weekend, if you close to any HBCU that's having homecoming,
go get you a plate.
You better go and have fun because there is something going down right now. Right now at 9:30 on somebody's campus, there's something going down. I promise you.
That's right. Coronations are going on Wednesdays.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There's something going
on. I tell you what, Southern University definitely has my heart. Alcorn had their homecoming last week. They pulled out that 1-point victory
over
over
the Grambling
Grambling.
State University, which
Yep.
was very controversial. I think that we might need to start getting some referees and the swag some binoculars and some other things. But nevertheless, I got to give it up to the Brave Nation because I very soon will be coming down with the Southern University to the reservation. To be exact, I'm going to be with my brother that weekend. It's going to be on like hot butter popcorn.
Yes, sir. It's like I tell them every year. It's like Freddy Krueger. The Jags are coming for you. They were like, oh, stop it, you know. So we coming up on the reservation, man. I'm looking forward to spending some time with you. And I hear you bring my brother Todd with you. So bring Todd on down, and we're going to have a good time, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So listen, family, it's time that I turn it over to my brother Edward Brown because it's about that time. So, brother,
and as we always
do about this time, let them know, brother.
Hey, man, if nobody else told y'all today, we love y'all. Peace. We see you next week.